All right, here we go. Question number 5 from our 1316 homework number 2 in MyLab Math. They want us to write the equation of a sine function with amplitude 6 and period 8 pi. And so what I'm going to start with over here is I'm going to write down the formula for a sine wave. Y equals a sine of bx minus c. That is the standard form of a sine function. And notice it doesn't mention anything about a phase shift, and that means that there will be no value for c. If there's a phase shift, you'll have a c. If there's no phase shift, no c. So that means the only two things I need to come up with are the values for a and b. Well, the absolute value of a is the amplitude. And they specified that the amplitude needs to be 6. Now, what that means, it means that I can have 6 sine of some angle, or I could have negative 6 sine of some angle. Both of these functions will produce an amplitude of 6 because taking the absolute value of the lead coefficient, taking the absolute value of positive 6 and the absolute value of negative 6, both of those will produce an amplitude of 6. So there are going to be two correct answers. And so if I look at my answer choices here, it says there are two equations. The equation where a is, now this is a fancy way of saying a is negative. The equation where a is negative is, and the equation where a is positive is. And then down here it says there are two equations. The equation where, now that's omega is negative is, and the equation where omega is positive is. Now omega, look here, deals with the period, and it's not the period that's going to be opposite, it's the amplitude. And then part C, it says there is only one equation, but that's not true from what we just discussed. The amplitude can be either positive or negative, so we're going to choose option A, where the amplitude can be negative or positive. And so the last piece of this puzzle is B. We now need to figure out what B is. So we know that the formula for the period for a sine or a cosine is 2 pi over b, but they tell me that the period is 8 pi. So I'm going to replace the period with 8 pi, and on the other side I'm going to have the formula 2 pi over b, and then I'm going to have to solve this for b. And so here the first step is to make this a fraction, where, I don't know if you noticed, but this is a proportion, and you can solve a proportion by doing cross multiply. So 8 pi times b, that's going to give us 8 pi b, and 1 times 2 pi is just going to give us 2 pi. And then if I want to solve for b, I'm going to divide both sides by 8 pi. That'll get the 8 and the pi to cancel. That'll get the b by itself. And then on the other side, again, the pi's are going to cancel. 8 over 2 reduces to 1/4. And so that tells us that our value for b has to be a 4. And so to finish these equations off, they're each going to say 1/4 x. So both of these equations need to be input into the correct position. So when a is less than 0, that's the one where a is negative. That's going to be negative 6 sin sine parentheses. I wonder if I need parentheses. I'm going to use parentheses anyway. 1/4 x. and close parentheses. And then when a is greater than 0, that's the one where a is positive. It's going to be y equals positive 6 sine parentheses 1 over 4 x. And we're going to check, fingers crossed. Oh, yeah. Man, I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to put those in the comment section below, or you can text me. And thanks for watching.